If you've been thinking about checking out rowing, there's a really good chance you've probably seen it somewhere on an internet news article, in a magazine, where everybody's talking about, hey, rowing is this great physical activity that you need to try, and all these studios are opening up, and all these things are here, and new machines, and blah, blah, blah. But you're still wondering, is it right for me? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. We're going to go through the 5 reasons you shouldn't row, and of those, that will help you decide whether or not it's something that you should pursue. Recently, a lot of videos, I found that a lot of comments come through with questions stating specifically, like, I have X, can I row? Or I've done this my whole life, is rowing something that I should put into my routine? And the objective of today's video is to try and help answer that question for all of you who have been asking, so that, it doesn't have to be this, I'm wondering. Yes, I'm seeing all the benefits you talk about, but instead, let's just evaluate. Is this the right thing for you? Are these the reasons that maybe you shouldn't consider rowing for you? If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Shane Farmer. This is Dark Horse Rowing, where you build the life that you want to live, and we just happen to use rowing, usually to get you there. So the question remains, rowing, talked about widely, covered in a lot of different places, and yet there are reasons that you may want to avoid using rowing for your training. And I'd rather address those for people rather than try to convince everybody, because it's not for everybody. So let's talk through the reasons that it may not be for you, and allow that to help you decide if you should even give it a try to begin with. The first and probably the biggest reason that I would suggest somebody stay away from rowing would be if you have a pre-existing injury or condition of some kind that doctors are advising you not go into heavy physical activity. Now, do you always have to have high intensity levels on this machine? Absolutely not. But it is really critical that you are clearing it with your doctor ahead of time. So if perhaps you have a previous existing, and maybe you're in an acute phase of a back injury or a knee injury, or really a major joint injury of some kind, it's really important you check with your doctors and your physical therapists before you begin on this machine. So if you have some kind of a chronic pain or a long-term condition of some kind that really causes a limit in what you should be doing physically, discuss with your doctor and make that determination together before you decide to jump onto this machine. The second reason that this is something you may want to stay away from and avoid, specifically when it comes to the indoor machine, would be that if you enjoy being outdoors and covering ground when you are working out. Now, why do I say this? Well, because this machine is inherently stationary. And yes, there is an audience, and even I've done it before, where I've taken my machine, I take it outside. I do it in my driveway. I do it elsewhere in my yard. I've climbed these machines to the top of mountains before. There are lots of places where you can take this machine. However, number one, it can be cumbersome to do that. And number two, you still don't cover ground once you actually start working out. So for example, if you like cycling like I do, I love getting on my bike and moving long distances. That's why I love road cycling, is because I can cover 50 miles in one workout and I get to see things. If that's important to you, if it's important that you're outside covering ground, experiencing nature, you're not going to find that on the indoor rowing machine. Now, can you find that from rowing? Yes, absolutely. But odds are, if you're looking this up, you're making your first decision on whether or not you should be considering the rowing machine as a training tool. So if that is the case, if you're looking at the rowing machine, just know it's not going to get you that outdoor feel, that engagement with nature that you may crave. Reason number 3 that you may want to stay away from this machine is if you've just tried it before and you flat out didn't like it. There's no reason to keep beating your head against a wall. If you gave this thing a try and frankly, it just doesn't interest you, why keep going with it? Go find something that you do enjoy. If you love the elliptical, or you love the treadmill, or you just love free weights, who am I to say that this is better for you than those things? At the end of the day, physical movement is required that you enjoy it in order to keep going. If you don't enjoy it, you're going to quit, you're going to stop, and you're just not going to enjoy the act of being physical in nature. And really, at the end of the day, that's the important piece of this. That's why we talk about this, or that's why I talk about this machine so much, is because it gives you an outlet to be physical, to be healthy, and to be fit. All I care about is that you are physical, healthy, and fit so that you can enjoy your life and build the life you want to build. That doesn't mean it has to happen with rowing. So if you've tried the rower or you even look at it and it just doesn't call to you, don't do it. You don't have to. It's not the end-all be-all of everything that's out there. So that's reason number 3 that you may not consider trying the rowing machine. Reason number 4, you may not want to consider rowing, and I have a feeling I'm going to catch a lot of flack for this one from the rowing audience. You know who you are. Is if you already row a lot. Now, why do I say that? Well, because rowing in and of itself, while tending to encapsulate a lot of the body in one movement, is still just a monostructural movement. You repeat the same thing over and over and over. The human body benefits from a variety of movement and was built to accomplish a lot of different things. For example, rowing doesn't give you the ability to practice jumping. It doesn't. You have to push horizontally, but you don't actually jump. It also doesn't give you the ability to practice upper body pushing and gaining strength that way. Also, a necessary piece of human movement. So if you expend the majority of your fitness on just the rowing machine, I would actually advise step away. Take a percentage, take it out of that pie that you have to give, that 100%, slice off maybe another 10 or 15% and dedicate it to some kind of complementary movement like the ski erg, or like adding strength training to your protocol so that your body can begin to develop in other ways other than just a monostructural movement that you do exclusively. Just keep in mind that having variety and having balance to your workouts is extremely critical to your life, your health, and your longevity. Everything in moderation, including moderation, my friends. And the final reason why you may want to avoid getting on the rowing machine is if it just doesn't interest you to take the time to learn about mechanics and to train your body to move properly on this machine. Now, why do I say that? It's very easy to just be able to get on this machine because many people, and I'll be honest, you can just move without getting injured for the most part. Again, there are still injuries that can happen, but to get the most out of this machine, it's really critical that you focus on yourself and your own movement and be very hyper aware of how you move on the machine. If it doesn't interest you to take time to learn mechanics and to focus on kinesthetic awareness on the machine, meaning your perception of your own body moving through space and time on the machine, if taking that time isn't something that you want to afford to this movement, don't do it. And that's not a knock. I'm not saying you have to want to do that, because if you would rather get on a bike because you know that, you know what, it's quick, it's easy, I already know how to cycle, I can get on a Peloton and just spin and things move easily and it's quick and I don't want to take the time to learn, you can still get a great workout on that bike. And so that's an instance in which probably rowing is not the thing for you. If you don't have the attention span or the interest to learn the mechanics, just don't do it. You don't have to. Again, there's no pressure to start this thing. Anybody who decides to take this on, I want you to love it. And if you're not going to love it, because often the reason is if you don't take those mechanics seriously early on, it's going to impact the way that you feel on the machine. Your workouts aren't going to feel very efficient. You're going to find what a lot of people refer to as that black hole of energy in the machine, meaning you don't feel like you're getting a good workout, but you can't quite figure out why. It's always because that the mechanics haven't been predetermined with your body. And so you are trying to get these workouts, but the output just doesn't seem to happen. And you see others getting the workout, but it isn't quite working for you. That's what I want you to avoid. So if you don't want to go that route, don't worry too hard about it. Just know that maybe the rower isn't for you. My question to you is there something I've missed? Is there another reason that you should not try rowing? If so, drop it in the comments below. Let's start the discussion, because I think it's really healthy for all of us to go through what are the right or the wrong reasons to be using the rowing machine. Barring the things that I've come up with or that may come up in the comments below, rowing is honestly a great activity for you to pursue. And the reason being, well, there are a multitude of reasons, but the biggest ones can be that it is a full body exercise. You truly have to use your legs, your hips, your back, your trunk, all parts of your legs, your arms, all of your body goes into engaging with this machine, so you're able to produce strength, endurance, flexibility, mobility. All of these things can begin to change. You can lose weight. You can use it in the peace of your home without having to go out. A big reason right now why so many people are finding it. And all of these things lead to basically say that the rower can be a good one-stop shop or an all-around exercise piece of equipment that can serve a lot of purposes at one without needing to accumulate a ton of different pieces of equipment. So make your decision wisely, decide if this is something that you're gonna invest your time in, and if you do, go at it, right? Take the time, do it right, so that when you come out on the other side of learning the technique and making sure that you are set up properly for this, that you have a great time with it, and that can be a tool that lasts the rest of your lifetime so that you can still be rowing when you're 100. Like some of the greatest stories about people who use the rowing machines are when I was just in Paris for the World Rowing Indoor Championships. I believe the oldest competitor was 95 rowing a 2,000 meter race. That is incredible. My hope is that so many of you can find that for your own future. If you've decided that rowing is something you are going to pursue, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get all of our latest workout and technique videos to help you along in your journey. And check out this playlist with our best beginner workouts to get you started on the machine, helping you learn technique and every step of the way.